My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to this edition of the Jeshua Channelings. For those of you that are following along with me in the book, we are on page 17. This is the Lightworker series, part one of the Lightworker series, and we're beginning with the New Earth 1. So, as I said, page 17, if you're following along. I'm not quite sure how to advise you if you're following along on the website because I haven't done that. I only have the book. But they are freely available. I did say that in the very first one at jeshua.net. So it begins. In this day and age, a transition is taking place on Earth. A new consciousness is dawning, which will take material shape sooner or later. How exactly this transition will come about, what form it will take, is not fixed. The future is always indeterminate. The only thing that is really given is this moment, the now. From the well of the now, countless possible roads are springing, an infinite web of possible futures. On the basis of the past, we can predict that one particular future is more probable than another, but the choice is always yours. It is you who decide whether you let the past determine your future. Predictions are always based on probabilities. Probabilities are related to the past. It is in your power as a human being to break with the past, to set out a different course. You are endowed with free will. You have the power to change, to recreate yourself. In this power rests your divinity. It is the power to create from nothing, to create ex nihilo. This divine power belongs to the very essence of who you are. In speaking of this day and age as an age of transition, never forget that you are the master of your own reality. There is no such thing as a predestined plan or a cosmic power which overrules your individual soul's path or your individual power to create your own reality. It doesn't work that way. Every soul on earth will experience this transition in a way that fits their inner propensities. There may be reality. There are many realities. The reality you choose will answer your inner needs and desires. What makes this time? And she has in parentheses here 1950 to 2070 approximately special is that there are two different cycles of consciousness coming to an end. A personal cycle, or a set of personal cycles, and a planetary cycle. The completion of these cycles coincides so that one reinforces the other. For a part of humanity, the completion of their personal cycle of Earth lives is near. And when the first time I read those words, I was like, see, I knew. I've felt since I was a lot younger that if reincarnation was a real thing, this was my last chance, as I was saying to myself, to be more like Christ, to get it right this time, that kind of thing, right? I held it mostly in some sort of a derogatory, I ain't been doing it the way I'm supposed to do it kind of way, the shoulds. Uh, so I resonate with this idea of personal cycles coming to an end. Most of the souls involved in this completion are light workers. We will speak in much more detail about this group of light worker souls. Here, we would like to explain the nature of this personal cycle, what it means to go through it, and what is the purpose of living all these quite complicated lives on Earth. The personal karmic cycle. The earth lives you the earth lives you experience are part of a greater cycle of your soul. This cycle was designed to enable you to fully experience duality. I spoke on that this morning in my live. You have within this cycle experienced what it is like to be male and female, to be healthy and ill, to be rich or poor, to be, quote, good and bad. In some lives, you were intensely involved with the material world, being a farmer, worker, or craftsman. There have been more spiritually oriented lives in which you carried within you a strong awareness of your spiritual origins. In those lives, you were often drawn to religious callings. Also, there have been lives in which you explored the worldly domain of power, politics, etc. There may have been lives devoted to an artistic expression of yourself. Often, souls tend to specialize somewhat in the course of all these lives. This can clearly be recognized in people who possess a natural gift in a certain area. It seems they have a potential there, even as a child, which only needs to be awakened at the right time and which is then easily developed. Lightworker souls are often drawn to religious lives and have lived numerous lives as monks, nuns, priests, shaman, witches, psychics, etc. They were drawn to be intermediaries between the material physical world and the spiritual realms. And so they developed an expertise in this field. When you feel this calling, this strong urge to be involved with spirituality, even if it does not fit in with your normal daily life, you may very well be part of this family of light workers. Living on earth provides you with an opportunity to fully experience what it is like to be human. Now, you may ask, what's so special about being human? Why would I want to experience that? The human experience is both diverse and intense. When you live a human life, you are temporarily immersed within an overwhelming field of physical sensations, thoughts, and feelings. Because of the duality inherent in this field, there is great contrast and intensity in your experiences, much greater than when you are in the astral planes, as you call it. These are the planes you enter after you die and where you remain between lives, which is why it was so cool to me that this book showed up right as we were ending this book. This book came in, and oh my goodness, it just built out that portion specifically. The Soul's Journey by Peter Richelieu is one that I highly recommend as well, which will also be appearing on this channel at a later time. It may be hard to imagine for you, but many entities on our side would love to be in your shoes. They would love to be human, to gain human experience. The human experience has a kind of realness to it, which is invaluable to them. Although they can create countless realities by the power of their imagination, it gives them less satisfaction than the creation of one real reality on Earth. On Earth, the creation process is often a struggle. You typically meet a lot of resistance in making your dreams come true. The mental type of creation in the astral world is much easier. There is no time lag between the thought of something and the actual creation of it. Moreover, you can create any reality you want or can think of. There are no limits. The moment you picture a lovely garden, it is there for you to enter. And I'm going to pause the book here because we've spoken on this. For me personally, I keep being shown that we create as we move. That is just how we create by default. Hence the programming and conditioning and the constant attempts to corral those thought processes, to manipulate those thinking and emotional processes. There are entities, there are beings who do realize and know that the human being is divinity incarnate. We're the last ones to the party. And anyone that even thinks about it is shown, it's called blasphemy and all that kind of thing. When in reality, that is the way that is. Wow, I'm seeing stars now for that one. Isn't that interesting? To give birth to an idea on Earth, to make it a reality in the material world is a great endeavor. It demands a strong intention, perseverance, clarity of mind, and a trusting heart. And that clarity of mind has also to do for me with presence. Because if I'm thinking about everything else that has no effect on me in whatever way at all, then that's taking some of that intention, attention, oomph, that away, and that's part of that drag. On Earth, you have to deal with the slowness and stubbornness of the material world. You have to deal with contradictory impulses in yourself, which goes back to the belief systems that have been installed. With doubt, despair, lack of knowledge, loss of faith, etc. The creation process may be obstructed or even fail because of any of these elements. Yet these potential problems, even the failures, are the very reasons that make the experience of earthly life so valuable. In this process, the challenges you meet are your greatest teachers. They give Earth experience a profundity that is so much deeper and broader than the effortless creation process on the astral planes. This effortlessness breeds meaninglessness. The astral entities which have not yet experienced lives on Earth know and understand this. You often get discouraged and even desperate by the non-compliant nature of your reality. So often, reality does not answer your wishes and hopes. And I will say, because you got an attachment to it, that it look and behave and be a certain way. That's what I've found for myself anyway. I've been answered. I've created, but it wasn't what I thought I wanted or what I had pictured in my head, right? So often your creative intentions seem to end up in pain and disillusion. However, you will find that key to peace and happiness at some point. You will find that the key within your own heart And, and when you do, the joy that will befall you will not be matched by anything created in the astral plane and in the astral planes. It will be the birth of your mastership, your divinity. The ecstasy you will experience when it's not lost on me that Crystal and I were just speaking on this morning in our live on New Light Streaming Love. The ecstasy you will experience when your divinity awakens will provide you with the power to heal yourself. This divine love will help you recover from the deep hurts you have suffered throughout your lives on earth. We have but to ask, I'm pretty sure, is all that takes, and then believe that it's happening. After that, you will be able to help cure others who have been through the same trials and sorrows. You will recognize their pain. You will see it in their eyes, and you will be able to guide them on their path to divinity. Which is why I say if you're attracted to this channel, to anything that I say, to anything that anyone else has to say, there's something in it for you. And for me anyway, something in it for you to look at, to deal with for yourself, to, just something. The purpose of going through duality. Please do not underestimate the meaning of your lives on earth. You belong to the most creative, advanced, and courageous part of God, or all that is. You are explorers of the unknown and creators of the new. Another reason why now I look at everything I'm doing as a quest. I'm on a puzzle piece collecting quest. Your explorations through the realm of duality have served a purpose far beyond your imagination. Wow, I'm just being flashed right now. All of the movies you've ever seen in your entire life, all television programs, everything, any script, any book that's ever been written, we are all trying to communicate to ourselves. In my view, it all has to do with the hero's journey. Nothing gets written or published without there being a hero's journey arc within it. Because we're trying to communicate to ourselves that we ourselves are on a quest to get to the truth of who we are. And then what do we want to do with that? It is hard to explain to you the deepest meaning of your travels, but we can say that you have created a new type of consciousness, one that did not exist previously. This consciousness was first displayed by Christ when he walked the earth. This consciousness, which I call the Christ consciousness, results from a spiritual alchemy. Physical alchemy is the art of transforming lead into gold. Spiritual alchemy is the art of transforming dark energy into, quote, the third energy, the spiritual gold present in the Christ energy. I've said many times that's what the Trinity is all about, moving from a duality perspective, perception standpoint, and into a triality. Please note, and I have this highlighted apparently, please note, we do not say that the purpose is to transform dark into light or evil into good. Dark and light, evil and good, are natural opposites. They exist by the grace of one another. True spiritual alchemy introduces a third energy, a type of consciousness which embraces both polarities through the energy of love and understanding. The true purpose of your journey is not to have light conquer dark. Now, see, that's the biggest problem I have had personally with light workers and the whole thing of it being a spiritual battle. No, it's not. As long as we got to fight it, then something to fight will always present itself because we're moving from a duality into a triality. So the third way is to just love it all. So, the true purpose of your journey is not to have light conquer dark, but to go beyond these opposites and to create a new type of consciousness, which can maintain unity in the presence of both light and dark. We will explain this rather difficult point by means of a metaphor. Imagine you are deep sea divers in search of a pearl. Time and again, you dive into the ocean to find this particular pearl, which everyone talks about, but nobody has actually seen. This is why I have said what I've said too. Rumors go that even God, the chief diver, has never touched the pearl. Diving into the ocean is full of perils since you can get lost or go too deep to catch your breath in time. Still, you persist and you dive into this ocean time and time again, for you are determined and inspired. Are you insane? No, you are explorers of the new. The secret is in the process of finding the pearl, you're creating it. The pearl is the spiritual gold of the Christ consciousness. The pearl is you, transformed by the experience of duality. Doesn't that make sense? Oh my gosh, yes, it does. What we have here is a true paradox. In exploring the new, you are creating it. You have become the pearl of God's creation. This is one of the reasons why, for me, just because we've always done something a certain kind of way does not mean we have to keep doing it. As a matter of fact, that would seem to indicate to me that it's imperative to do something else. God had no other way of doing it, for what you are attempting to find did not exist yet. Yet it had to be created by you. Why was God so interested in creating something new? Let us state this as simply a way possible. First, God was entirely good. There was goodness everywhere and all around. In fact, because there was nothing else, things were kind of static. His creation lacked aliveness. It lacked the possibility of growth and expansion. You might say it was stuck. To create change, to create an opportunity for movement and expansion, God had to introduce an element in his creation that was different from the goodness that pervaded everything. This was very hard for God, for how can you create something that is not you? How can goodness create badness? It can't. So, God had to come up with a trick, so to speak. This trick is called ignorance. Ignorance is the element that opposes goodness. And I'm hearing, and I forgive me, but I'm not sure which being I have had a conversation with that actually pronounces this ignorance. And I felt like that was a much better way because I ignored my own divinity. And I'm being reminded that that's the proper way to pronounce that. Ignorance is the element that opposes goodness. It creates the illusion of being outside goodness, of being separated from God. Not knowing who you are is the incentive behind change, growth, and expansion in your universe. Ignorance breeds fear. Fear breeds the need to control. The need to control breeds the struggle for power. And there you have all the conditions for, quote, evil to flourish. The stage has been set for the battle between good and bad, which is why everybody keeps referring to it. Even now, I hear, Tucker Carlson and those guys have now all picked up the fact that this is a holy war. I cannot hardly wait for everybody to get it in their noggins to quit calling it that and get to the whole point. But that is showing us where we are out there. At least some are getting it now, right? Let's pull it back into ourselves and see it's not an us against them sitch. Not really. It's a us against our own damn selves sitch. God needed the dynamics of opposites to get his creation, quote, unstuck. It may be very hard for you to comprehend in view of all the suffering caused by ignorance and fear, but God put great value on these energies since they provided him with a way to go beyond him/herself. God asked you, the ones that belong to the most creative, advanced, and courageous part of herself, to take the veil of ignorance in order to experience the dynamics of opposites as thoroughly as possible. You were temporarily soaked in forgetfulness about your true nature. And I feel that's true with all of me. I feel that's a true statement. You consented to take this plunge into ignorance, but this fact was overlaid by the veil of forgetfulness as well. So now you often curse God for being in the situation you're in, the hardships, the ignorance, and we understand. In essence, though, quote, you are God, and God is you. Despite of all the troubles and sorrows, deep down within you, there is still a sense of wonder and excitement about living in duality, about experiencing and creating the new. This is God's original excitement. The reason God started with this journey through you in the first place. That's why I know now I just look at it as a quest. That God, my innate, my internal, is leading me through if I will only but drop the ignorance. When you started out on your journey, you faced evil, in parentheses, fear, and ignorance, with only a vague memory of the good or home in your mind. You started to battle fear and ignorance while longing for home. However, you will not return home in the sense of returning to a state in your past. For creation has changed because of your journey. Now, there's a lot of light workers out there who think we're going back to unity, back to oneness. And in a sense, that is so. But in another sense, I keep being shown that it's actually more than that. And this is why. Because home, what we all think of as that oneness has actually changed as one as well. The end of your journey will be that you have become larger than good and evil, light and dark. You will have created a third energy, the Christ energy, which embraces and transcends both. You will have expanded God's creation. You will be the new creation of God. God will have gone beyond him/herself when the Christ consciousness is fully born on earth. The Christ consciousness did not exist before, quote, the human experience. The Christ consciousness is the consciousness of one who has gone through the multi-layered experience of duality, has come to terms with it, and emerges, quote, on the other side. He will be the inhabitant of the new earth. This one will have let go of duality. She will have recognized and embraced her own divinity. He will have become one with his divine self. But his divine self will be different than before. It will be deeper and richer than the consciousness from which it was born. One could say God will have enriched himself or herself by having gone through the experience of duality. You see how we inform creation through our experiences, that we walk from experience through knowledge into wisdom. This story is simplified and distorted, as anything we say is, distorted by the illusions of time and separation. These illusions have served a valuable purpose, but the time has come to go beyond them. Please try to feel the energy behind our words, stories, and metaphors. This energy is, in a sense, your own. It is the energy of your future Christed selves that is speaking through me, Jeshua. We are waiting for you to join us. How to overcome duality, the completion of the karmic cycle. Your earthly cycle of lives ends when the game of duality no longer has a hold on you. It is essential to the dualistic game that you identify yourself with a particular position in the playing field of polarities. You identify yourself with being rich or poor, famous or humble, man or woman, hero or villain. It really doesn't matter that much which part you are playing, as long as you feel one with the actor on the stage. Duality still has a firm grip on you. This is not wrong, of course. In a sense, it was meant to be that way. You were meant to forget about your true self, to experience all the aspects of duality. You were meant to narrow your consciousness down to a particular role in the drama of Earth life. And you played it well. You got so caught up with your roles that you totally forgot about the aim and purpose of going through this cycle of lives to begin with. You were so forgetful about yourself that you took the games and dramas of duality to be the only reality there is. In the end, this made you very lonely and full of fear, which is not surprising, since the very game of duality, as noted in the previous section, is based on the elements of ignorance and fear. To understand the workings of duality in your life, your everyday life, we would like to mention a few typical hallmarks of the duality game. Characteristics of the duality game. 1. Your emotional life is essentially unstable. I have to agree with that. Yep. It's become a lot more stable over these last few years. There is no emotional anchor present since you are always in the quote up or down side of a particular mood. You are angry or forgiving, narrow minded or generous, depressed or enthusiastic, happy or sad. Your emotions perpetually fluctuate between extremes. You seem to have only limited control over these fluctuations. Number two, you know what? Sorry, I'm being asked to consider for myself here. Uh, you seem to have only limited control over these fluctuations, which is why I feel as though I've been asked to relax into myself and simply observe these states of self. That's part of bringing that ignorance from ignorance into full on connection, if you will, right? And just witness and sort of catalog for myself. I don't want to try to control them. I want them to show me what it is that my emotions, my feelings are 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 about. Why are they there? What are they truly in reference to, right? They're trying to communicate to me, which, oh, is that part of the emotional anchor that I've been creating within myself? The answer I'm getting is yes, that is part of how that forms. Ooh, much like I'm being shown a pearl right now, that's how that sand, all of those experiences could be considered sand that enters into a clam, right? And that irritation is what causes the pearl to form, is the irritation that, wow. Number two, you are intensely involved with the outer world. Well, I used to be. It is very important to you how other people judge you. Your self esteem depends on what the outer world or society or your loved ones mirrors back to you about who you are. That's another reason why I now see stuff like that. I can see from my past why I had to go through what I had to go through to get past that for sure. You are trying to live up to their standards of right and wrong. You are doing your very best. Well, that's the absolute truth right there, no matter who you are. Number three, you have strong opinions about what's good and what's bad. Boy, I used to, but I've really backed off of that because I see it now. I see it. Being judgmental gives you a sense of security. That's what that was about for me, too. Oh, a sense of security. Um, it's a false sense of security. It's a lie to myself, right? But nevertheless, that's what that's there for. Pardon me, I got a little bit of a mascara smudge I saw that was going to bug me. Being judgmental gives you a sense of security and a sense of superiority as well, for myself, I might add. Life is so well organized when one divides actions, thoughts, or people into right or wrong. That, and I will say this, we are taught from a very young age that we have to make choices and decisions about people and categorize different things in different ways quickly. Most specifically, you know, for myself, that's a recognition I see from differing programs being installed within me. Common to all these characteristics is that in all you do or feel, you are not really there. Your consciousness resides in the outer layers of your being, where it is driven by fear-oriented patterns of thought and behavior. Let us give an example. If you're used to being nice and agreeable all the time, you are displaying a pattern of behavior that does not spring from your inner being. You are, in fact, suppressing signals from the inner part of you. You are trying to live up to someone else's expectations in order not to lose their love, admiration, or care. You are reacting from fear. You are limiting yourself in your expression. The part of you that is not expressed will, however, live a hidden life of its own, creating dissatisfaction and tiredness in your being. And I highlighted that specifically because I know that's a true statement for myself. I've watched myself put myself on the back burner because of something someone else believes or says and not wishing to be judged. I just now just quietly observe and don't engage if that is what I know is coming down the pike. There's a difference. I know how to handle myself now. It means I've not been ignoring myself, but to continue on here, there may be anger and irritation present in you, which no one is aware of, not even you. I know that's true too. For me, anyway, the way out of this state of self denial is to make contact with the suppressed and hidden parts inside you, within you. Making contact with the suppressed and hidden parts within you is not difficult in the sense that it requires particular skills or knowledge to do so. Don't make, quote, going within a difficult process that others have to teach you or do for you. Oh boy, I did. I, I was like, I'm not in contact with myself. Could you help me? Is with the way I approach that. And and I do feel as though I have been helped, don't get me wrong. But all anybody did, Crystal and Lisa, both of these beings, was point me back into me and help me see me. And for me, that is the only way forward, is to help me see me in every way possible, not from some outside something or another. And I think that we can all, that's what I think people mean when they say we are walking each other home. But we just have to be open to seeing that. This goes on to say you can do it for yourself and you will find your own ways of doing it. Motive and intent are far more important than skills and methods because when the student's ready, the master will appear. That's a true statement there. If you really intend to know yourself, if you are determined to go deep within and change the fearful thoughts and emotions that block your way to a happy and fulfilled life, you will do it through any method that comes along. Having said that, and that's why and I'm happy to do it for anyone that hears this and wants to know inside themselves. I'm happy to point you to places and ways to do that that are free, that you can take your time with. As a matter of fact, we're going to start a club that will, it's just a club. Nobody's paying anybody. There are no gurus. We're just going to share little things that have helped and worked for us that are free to do. Because this old gal is surviving on $1,300 a month, and there ain't no money in the budget for nothing extra, as you might imagine. So nothing I do, nothing anybody does, for this, for our club will ever be charged a fee. Because together we can help each other see each other. Having said that, we'd like to offer one simple meditation which may help you get in touch with your emotions. So this is all in italics here. So I'm going to turn on my meditative voice, and should you feel so inclined to go ahead, take a moment to relax the muscles in your shoulders and neck. Sit straight up and put your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Picture yourself walking on a country road under a wide open blue sky. You take in the sounds of nature, and you feel the wind through your hair. You are free and happy. Further down the road, you suddenly see some children running toward you. They're getting closer, closer to you. How does your heart respond to this sight? Then the children are in front of you. How many are there? How do they look? Are they boys, girls, or both? You say hello to all of them. Tell them how happy you are to see them. And you make contact with one child in particular who is looking you in the eye. She or he has a message for you. It is written in the child's eyes. Can you read it? What does it want to tell you? It is bringing you an energy that you need right now. Name the energy that this inner child has come to bring you. Don't judge it. Simply thank her or him and then release the image. Feel the earth firmly under your feet. Breathe deeply for a while. You just contacted a hidden part of yourself. You can go back to this scene anytime you want and perhaps talk to the other children there as well. That's the end of the meditation there. I need a little bit more than that for meditation for myself, but this does remind me for some reason, and it's coming very front and center. Crystal and I are both Beyond Quantum Healing BQH practitioners. There's my certificate right back there. And it's been in our fields. We're going to have to do some more of that. And that is something that I want to share. If you're attracted to me, we can talk about doing a BQH session for you if that you feel that would be helpful for you to reach reach out to me, consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com, and we'll take a look at doing that for you. By going within and making contact with the hidden, suppressed parts of yourself, you are becoming more present. Your consciousness is rising above the fear-motivated patterns of thought and behavior that you have taken for granted for such a long time. It is taking responsibility for itself. It takes care of the sorrow, anger, and hurt inside, like a parent takes care of its children. We will describe this process in much more detail elsewhere. Wow. And I want to share with you that The truth of the matter for me is that I feel more of that presence in here, so much more of it um, than ever have before. So interesting. Characteristics of releasing duality. Number one, you listen to the language of your soul, which speaks to you through your feelings. And for me, I apparently have the power the universe endeavors, all of the universe endeavors to communicate with me on levels that have always been there, but I wasn't present enough in here to catch. But my years of puzzle piece collecting has really paid off, and I'm starting to catch them now. And it's so yummy to do that, let me just say. Number two, you act upon this language and create the changes your soul wishes you to make. Yes. Number three, you value quiet time alone, for only in silence can you hear the whispers of your soul. Yes, and that is a true statement. That I hear the whispers, but sometimes it's not until they come out of my mouth to another. I'm learning as all of this is going, and there's no way for the personality Sheila to get it until it's coming out of her mouth, apparently, which is why I keep saying that all of this that I do on YouTube is not for you. I'm not trying to earn money. This is not about getting likes and all of that kind of stuff. It's not about any of that. It's about helping me see me. And I know now that part of my process is the speaking process. So it's not just in silence. I want to be very clear. It is an individuated thing, but you got to get silent first. That's the truth of that. And I know that's so, right? Number four, you question the authority of thought patterns or rules of behavior which block the free expression of your true inspiration and aspirations. And oh, you betcha. And the fact that Aquarius is my rising sign is another reason why that's so. I was just flashed my rising sign right there too, because I question authority about all of that now. That's why that Q is still there. It means to question everything. No matter what anybody thinks about that phenomenon about Q, it was source sent, source driven. I am convinced of that because it started a whole new generation of beings questioning things. And that's what it was meant to do, in my opinion, just my opinion. The turning point in letting go of duality. Your earthly cycle of lives draws to a close when your consciousness is able to hold all the experiences of duality in its hand while remaining centered and fully present. As long as you identify with one aspect of duality rather than another, with light as opposed to dark, with rich as opposed to poor, etc., your consciousness is on a swing. And that's why I called it a pendulum swing myself. And earlier, I think it was today, I said that. Karma is nothing but the natural harmonizer for the swings in which your consciousness engages. You release your ties to the karmic cycle when your consciousness finds its anchor in the motionless center of the seesaw. This center is the exit point for the karmic cycle. The predominant feeling tones in this center are stillness, compassion, and quiet joy. Greek philosophers had premonitions of this state, which they called ataraxia. Ataraxia. or imperturbability. Thank you. I knew I could say it. She's getting my lips wrapped around it. Judgment and fear are the energies that most take you off center. That's true. As you release these energies more and more, you become more quiet and open inside. Is that why I had to get comfortable with the idea of death? I guess so. Yep. You truly enter another world, another plane of consciousness. This will be manifested in your outer world. It will often be a time of change and saying goodbye to aspects in your life that do not reflect you anymore. Great upheavals may occur in the area of relationships and work. More often than not, your whole lifestyle turns topsy-turvy. Boy, that word's been in my lexicon a lot in the last couple of days. So interesting how timing and things like that work. This is only natural from our perspective since inner changes are always the forerunner of changes in your outer world. Your consciousness creates the material reality you dwell in. It is always that way. Releasing the grip of duality takes time. Unraveling all the layers of darkness or unconsciousness is a gradual process. Yet once you embark upon this road, the road to the inner self, you are slowly distancing yourself from the game of duality. When you have tasted the true meaning of ataraxia, the turning point is taken. When you have felt the silent yet all-pervading joy of simply being with yourself, you will know that that is what you've been looking for all along. You will go inward time and again to experience this peace inside. You will not shy away from worldly enjoyment. No. A lot of people think they got to give up everything and become this or that or the other. And that's where, each has to go by what has worked for them. But it's not necessary. Each will find their way, as this said earlier, too. So you will not shy away from worldly enjoyment. As a matter of fact, that's part of the deal. That's part of why we came here. That's how we shape things into wisdom, is to experience them. And we all came here for something different from each other. That's why trying to make everybody see everything one way, a morality, it's not working anyway, so why are we trying to force it? That's the big thing, isn't it? You will not shy away from worldly enjoyment, but you will have found an anchor of divinity within yourself, and you will experience the world and all its beauty from that state of bliss. And yes, even death is beautiful from that state of bliss. Bliss never resided in material things to begin with. It resides in the way you experience them. And that's such a true statement. When there is peace and joy in your heart, the things and people you meet will give you peace and joy. In this day and age, a certain group of souls is preparing itself to step off the karmic cycle. We will speak in depth about this group in the next chapters. However, it is not just a group of human souls that is now reaching the end of a transformative personal cycle. The very earth on which you live is undergoing a deep and thorough-going transformation. A planetary cycle is coming to an end as well. Anybody alive now in 2024 knows this is to be true. This era is so special because of these two cycles coinciding. We will now speak about the planetary cycle, and that's the end of New Earth 1, and I will come back with New Earth 2 in a different video, because let's see, this one's already been right at an hour. So thank you for joining me. I hope you will come back and listen to the next one. Move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. That which draws you, there's something there. Something that draws you, whether for whatever the reason, if you feel drawn, move to it. There's something there for you to experience, to pull into your knowledge and live it into wisdom. Till next time, be well, my friends.